Hi all. Thanks for coming out on this chilly, windy day. This is a letter composed by Code Pink. They're one of the major organizers of this international event today. And anybody who wants to sign on to this letter, it's addressed to the people of Iran, and it's going to be sent to them today. We have demonstrations all over the country and around the world. So just go on Code Pink's website and look for the Dear People of Iran letter. And I'm just going to read some excerpts of it for you. Dear people of Iran, we, the American people, are horrified by the actions of our government to provoke a war with you. From President Trump's dangerous decision to pull out of the Iran nuclear agreement, to the crippling sanctions his administration imposed, to the assassination of General Qasem Soleimani, President Trump and his administration has pushed our two nations to the brink of war. The blame for the current crisis lays squarely at the feet of Donald Trump. As Americans committed to peace and the safety of all people, we, the undersigned, apologize for the actions of our reckless, hate-filled president and pledge to do everything we can to stop Trump's aggression, remove the crippling sanctions you're suffering under, and resume a process of diplomacy with our country. We are aware that the current crisis is far from the first time the U.S. has acted against the safety, well-being, and autonomy of the Iranian people. The U.S. has a dreadful history of meddling in the internal affairs of your country. The 1953 coup that overthrew your democratically elected government to prevent you from nationalizing your own resources was unconscionable. So was the U.S. support for Iraq's Saddam Hussein when he invaded Iran in 1980, including selling him the materials to make chemical weapons such as mustard gas that were used against you. The 1988 shooting down of an Iranian civilian airliner, killing all 290 passengers and crew, was another criminal act. So were the decades of covert actions the U.S. and its allies have taken to overthrow your government, and the decades of sanctions that have brought such needless suffering to ordinary Iranians. We, the undersigned, are clear that the U.S. government has no business interfering in your internal affairs or in the Middle East in general. We should not be goading countries into war, selling weapons, or giving money to nations guilty of gross human rights violations, or maintaining military bases in faraway lands. With all the flaws in our own society, massive inequality and homelessness, rising Islamophobia, anti-Semitism and racism, a political system corrupted by monetary influences, the separation of children from their parents at the Mexican border, we should clean up our own house instead of telling others how to govern themselves.
That's right.
That's right.
Thank you.
The recent U.S. actions towards Iran are the most dangerous and provocative of all of Donald Trump and foreign policy decisions. The assassination of Soleimani, ordered by President Trump and carried out on sovereign Iraqi soil, risked the safety of the entire world, set a dangerous precedent, and was likely illegal under international law. Trump did not consult with the U.S. Congress before the assassination, as the U.S. Constitution dictates. Poll after poll reveals that the American people do not want a war with Iran. We want to end the Middle East wars that the U.S. is engaged in for far too long. We want our nation's resources to be dedicated to enriching people's lives, not enriching the weapons makers. We want to live in peace and harmony with the people of Iran.
That's right.
Yes.
We, the undersigned, pledge to do everything in our power to stop the U.S. from carrying out further attacks on Iran, to end the brutal sanctions, and to see that the U.S. military withdraws from Iraq and other countries in the Middle East. We are pressuring the U.S. Congress to act, and we are taking to the streets, and we will not continue to do, and we will continue to do so until Iran is no longer under threat of war. And we will continue, for our sake as well as yours, to work to rid ourselves of this unscrupulous president and replace him with someone who is trustworthy, moral, and committed to diplomacy.
Yes.
Yes, please accept our hand in friendship. May the peacemakers prevail over those who sow hate and discord.
Right.
So go on Code Pink's website and sign your name. Send the message to the people of Iran that we do not want war.
Right. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Nancy.